Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. This is our first live session with our own Professor R. Vaidyanathan. Professor RB, welcome to PGurus chat.
Thank you very much. Thanks a
Uh,
lot.
so this is a series that we have planned called as Request RV. He is a guru to many of you, and he is somebody who has taught us a lot of things about the realities of life. And Professor also is going to tell how many ambassador cars are going to be manufactured in each household with this coronavirus in a post-coronavirus scenario. If you don't understand what I'm saying, go back and listen to some of his talks about the relationship between an ambassador car and the man in the family. Professor RB, once again, welcome to PGurus channel.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
So, sir,
I
today's
hope there
topic.
are some questions.
so, today's topic we are going to talk about is Covidified economy and the way forward. So let me just set the context, sir. We have done one small hangout on PGurus in the past on this, but that was about 3-4 weeks ago, and since then things have changed. Now the new normal appears to be that social distancing, or expressed in Hindi as tan dur, physical distance, is going to be the norm. And in fact, I'm reading a lot of communications coming down the wire on California state strategy. And what they are saying is school classrooms will be only 25 to 50% occupied, and that there has to be 6 feet mandatory separation. And if you go to a theater which can seat 300 people, no more than 75 people or something like that, a limit is being imposed. Essentially, what it is 6 feet separation between people. Now, the question is, can somebody make a successful business by just selling 50 tickets for a movie show? So that is a bigger question. So the new normal is going to put a lot of things, upending a lot of things. A lot of stuff like roadside vendors are going to find that going really tough, because there will be always concern about the healthiness of the food you are eating, what is the cleanliness of it, and you can name it. I mean, everything is now going to be looked at it with extreme caution. Maybe in 6 months' time, maybe in a year's time, there are no serious reoccurrences of this virus, and people might think, okay, now things have come down to the normal that we can be free. But I can tell you, 2020 and perhaps well into 2021, we are going to have a state of elevated attitude about everything. We're all going to be worrying about little things, perhaps more than we need to, but that's going to be the way the new normal is going to be. So, sir, what are your thoughts? Let's look at it from the economic perspective. Supply is gone, demand is gone. When supply comes back up online, because it will have to be almost always supply, since both are zero now, I think that is my take. How do you think things are going to play out?
You see, supply may come to some extent. For instance, airlines travel. Let's take an example.
Right.
It might start another thing. I don't think people are going to be enthusiastically going into the airlines. And somebody in Seattle was telling me that even today there are some airlines flying from Seattle to Los Angeles, even today, actually,
Yes.
but not
Yes.
infrequent. And the charges are ranging from $45 to $50. Unbelievable, actually. And it appears the person told me the last he checked, only there were 3 passengers in one flight, actually. And one in the front seat, perhaps one in the middle, and one in the end. The point is, at least the 2020 end of year, I think the fear and the worry about corona is not going to go away. So it is not, and all the airlines are not going to, as you rightly told, in an auditorium, we can keep 50 people with 5 feet gap. In the airlines industry, you have to remove every, alternate seat and the aisle and all those things. 5 feet gap is not very easy, actually. So supply could come back, but I am not very sure about the public attitude towards even entering into an airport, for instance, because you have to touch hundreds and hundreds of places in an airport while you are climbing to the security, while you are going into the airlines, while you are getting into the bus. So many things are there. So the people's concern and worry, unless it is a very, very must type of a travel. Even because of technology, that has been minimized, because now, whether one likes it or not, significant number of IT industry and several other companies have encouraged people to work from home. It depends how they evaluate it. If it has been reasonably successful, they may want some percentage of their workforce to continue to work from home, or they may have it on a rotational basis, in the sense they don't want the same 30% to work from home, but different. Manufacturing, of course, is a totally different ball game. So supply will definitely become normal, but will there be enough demand? That is the issue. Automobile, for instance, many are telling there will be, huge amount of supply will be there. Even now the stocks are there, because last month the sale was zero. So there is a huge amount of stock. But how many people are going to jump and go and get them is another issue. Similarly, restaurant, a large number of restaurants will be open, but will people be enthusiastic to enter into them? Because you have to, in a restaurant business, you have to touch 150 things. And if you are going in a family, everyone can't sit 5 feet away, and it's not going to be a easy thing. So my assessment is, at least till the end of the year, quite a number of these industries will continue to have their demand problem. Supply could increase. There is absolutely no, like I saw an ad in France asking people to eat more cheese and chips, because so much amount has been already uh, in the pipeline or produced. And but where are the people? How many are going to go and so let us wait and see how much it differentiate. Right.
Sir, one question, sir. How many people now families in India tend to eat out? Isn't it more like once a week or maybe 2 times a week maximum?
Yeah, I agree with you. But as I was telling, restaurant was one of the fastest growing industry in India.
That could be
10%.
because of floating population, isn't it?
Not only that, it is because of younger population also. And
Okay.
otherwise, how do you explain Swiggy and Zomato? Each employing, last they claimed they employed 10 lakh each, like 2 million people employed by them is unbelievable actually. And they were forecasting, of course, that was all pre-corona time, that they will be having something like 3 to 4 million people in another 3 years. There is a huge, surge in eating. Eating out mean you don't have to physically go out and eat, but ordering at home also is eating out, right? There is a. I won't say it is phenomenal as in the case of say France or Italy or something, but it was growing at least. That growth will not be sustained for a long period of time, particularly in metropolitan areas. I'm not talking about semi-rural and semi-urban areas. Semi-urban areas, small restaurant may be grown, but cities like say Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, and other thing, eating out has become not non-normal. Okay, let's put it like that. Yeah. Any questions or anything so far?
Yes. I just wanted to give you an update. There are quite a few people watching, and the number is growing. And we have a few questions. Before we open the floor for questions, what I wanted to ask you, sir, was one or two more questions, because the time now we are 8 minutes into our talk. I thought we will have a 20-minute talk session, and the following 30 minutes will be Q&A.
No, you encourage, you put those questions in your own way,
Okay,
so
all
that
right. No problem. Let me start with the first person who asked the question, Kirti Kashyap. Infra industry, mainly roads, are on a standstill with respect to India from March 2019. He says he's a bridge designer in a private consultancy firm, so he kind of knows. Land acquirement bill has been withdrawn, more than 30% layoff across all companies. There is a major work loss for labor and related field, real estate, etc. What do you see happening? Because if infrastructure is not growing in terms of like roads, because there was some other stall, do you have any update on that part, sir?
no, I think the whatever little I hear, the thrust is going to be on infrastructure. because that is going to be good employment generating. For instance, you see a state like UP, it has spent a lot of money in developing roadways, expressways, and phenomenal growth actually, and it is going to continue only.
Hmm.
That's the one area where employment is generated as well as good amount of investment will be taking place. I don't think there may be some temporary issues, and one important thing is states have to play a very major role. My hunch is some of the states like UP, Madhya Pradesh, and other thing will be going ahead much faster than other states. Of course, there is not much incremental investment to be done in some of the states like Tamil Nadu or where it is already reasonably well developed. But maybe in other sectors like power, as well as in what one can call renewing the existing roads and bridges and other things. So infra, I think, will see a very good light, according to me, in India.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to mention to you that we are at 108. It's a very special number of people watching, and it is still growing quickly. And I have a follow up on Kirti's question. He wanted to know real estate, infrastructure work. How do you see that in European countries, and also the role of automation and AI and machine learning? Would that also start having an impact on the workforce?
Too many into one case. Real estate, I think it will take a lot of time in Europe and US to pick up. Particularly in Europe, real estate is not going to be in a very good form. Already, Europe had a doldrum in real estate, and some of the rich Indians are acquiring actually some, good, what one can call old style palaces and other things. As far as India is concerned, there is going to be a significant correction in terms of prices because unsold inventory is phenomenal, and quite a number of them are requiring working capital. They have finished three-fourth and two-third of the apartment buildings in metropolitan towns like Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, so many places. So price correction would definitely take place in the real estate. The margins should not be as high as it used to be in the past, and the new projects they will hesitate to take it up unless, because a lot of these NBFCs and others are not forthcoming to invest in the projects. That is another issue now. So that would be the situation for at least 1 year or more in the real estate side. As far as AI and other thing, this, I don't think Corona is going to have a, even independent of that, there has
It was
been
already.
significant
That
amount.
is correct. That is correct. Yes. In fact, I happen to drive a Tesla, and the
Yeah,
Tesla is 4 years old, but the hardware is not changing, but the software updates are happening even now. The latest
right.
software update that I got, it will do automatic tracking. That means if I get on a lane, I can leave my hands off more or less, and the thing will slow down fast, pick up everything. It'll turn the lights on, it'll turn the wiper blades on if water come,
Yeah,
rain comes, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of the AI is happening in that. Now we'll go to the next question. It is by
yeah.
Yash Kansal. Yash, unfortunately, I don't think I should ask this question, and this is just something that is perhaps a little sensitive. So I'm just going to let you know that I read your question, but I'm not going to ask Professor RV that question. Let's move on to let's
What is he abusing me? No, hopefully not.
no, 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 no. He's not abusing you. He's, in fact, it is a very genuine question, but I just don't want to put you in the spot by asking that question. That's all. So,
Huh?
ne-
Hopefully
ne-
he's not abusing me, Sri.
no, 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 no. I'll share the question with you, sir. But so this is not something that we should be talking on this hangout. Next question by Ankit Gupta. Sir, is sending migrant workers back to their home a good idea when we are looking to kickstart the economy again?
Come again?
Is sending migrant laborer back to their homes a good idea when we are kickstarting the economy again?
No, no, no. It is not. They will come back. I am telling you. After, there was 2 year before, there was a huge exodus from Bangalore to east and northeast because of some WhatsApp mischief done by some people that they are in danger at Bangalore and other things. And, it was a very bad situation actually. So many left. Of course, that was no quarantine or anything, but independent of it, and even special trains were run because of the rush. But after few months, they came back. Two reasons. One is the metropolitan towns require migrant labor. Second is the wages which they get here is much better than sitting idle at home or doing some small work here and there. So I don't think it is such a what one can call major issue. They will come back. And when you kickstart, you don't have to kickstart only in the urban areas. You can kickstart in various other
Yes,
locations
yes.
and other things also.
Yes. Sir, the next question by Abhishek Mohanty. You partially answered this question. So I'm just going to ask you the question and probably set the context. What will be the impact on construction sector? Now, you did mention that there is going to be an impact. Sir, I want you to take your mind back to post demonetization, say 1/1/2017 onwards. See, there must have been a perceptible dip in construction post demonetization. Did that happen? Did the industry recover
No,
again?
no,
Construction?
no, not at all. You see, I think a lot of misconception is about demonetization. Demonetization is at a point of time event. It's a cross-sectional event.
Okay.
Let's be very clear. At that particular point of time, whatever could be accumulated or gathered by the government and black convert, it is not one which permanently try to solve the issue of black money. For instance, this was announced, if you remember, November 16 or something. It, January 17 onwards, again the same requirement, economy. Let us be very, very clear. 100 times I have repeated this. Black money is only a symptom. Corruption is the disease. So, as long as you have corruption at the state, municipal, and local level, you are not going to come out of this issue. And to some extent, it helps in small businesses in terms of providing credit and other things. So, I don't think construction industry will undergo the same type of issues we were talking about infra and real estate. But otherwise, it is not going to be in any different affected than others. Okay.
So, next question. Harinder Singh wants to know why Economic Times is shouting stimulus package all the time. And what are your comments about the interview of Rahul Gandhi of Raghuram Rajan?
Any of, see, economic time or any of these, let us be very, very clear. These newspapers are not primarily disseminating news. That is one of their activities. That's all. They have their own huge vested interest, and they have, Samir Jain has got a huge amount of interest. Long time before, I was told by one gentleman that do you have 10 lakh? He asked me. I told I can mobilize, but what for? He told if you could get me 10 lakh every day, I will see that you are covered in one of the most popular newspapers of the country. I was surprised. How will you do it? I told no, we will give something like the biscuit, the professor, the thinking professor, and other things. Small news item. Every day we will cover you for a period of 4 weeks. 10 lakh was the fee. Not now. It was quite some time before. So we should take all these people. We should take them with a ton of salt. Who asked that question?
The question was asked by Harinder Singh. Harinder Singh.
Harinder Singh may be from the northern part of India. If he's from Gujarat, I would have told you take it from a ton of salt actually. They have really huge amount of salt available. So, and as far as this Raghuram Rajan, Rahul Gandhi, and see, these are these are what one can call promotions. Rahul Gandhi has to be launched. He has been launched. I don't know how many times. Now, Raghuram Rajan wants to genuinely get into India. He wants to play some major role in Indian economy, politics, and other. His term is coming to an end. He may not be very sure whether it will be extended. All these issues are there, and some people have already started talking Raghuram Rajan as the Manmohan Singh of Rahul Gandhi. It's a far-fetched talk. First of all, they have to win the election. They have to get a majority. All those things are there. So I am not very particularly serious about these type of discussions.
So next question by Vinod Y. He's not put his last name. Should interest rates go lower? Is zero interest rate a possibility in India?
No, zero interest is not going to be a possibility, but the lending rates can definitely be reduced. I think earlier also in one of our talk on, I think I was telling about not worried about this Basel norms and other thing, expanding the amount of refinancing to be done. Another lending rates required to be reduced. Actually, the going rate in India is 2 to 6%. Not many people know. They all only talk about commercial bank rate and other thing.
Right.
50% of the Indian economy borrows at 2 to 6% per month. So there is a need to reduce this rate, and for which Mudra Bank has to become operational, and which has not become operational, which is quietly sandwiched and killed by RBI and Finance Ministry. Anyhow, so reduction in the rate is a must as far as the and the rate today is 2 to 6% per month. Let me repeat it.
That's a
Okay.
very, very high percentage of interest.
That is
I
why
think,
Amazon and these Kiranas cannot compete. Amazon
yes.
borrows at 3% per year.
In fact, it's one of the most it's one of the most heavily borrowed companies in the United States. People don't know this,
Yeah,
and
but at a much, much lower rate I am talking about.
right. In fact,
Where-
they've borrowed a lot of money for their expansion too,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is what I was trying to say. So the next question is by somebody who goes by the name of Chip Blade. That sounds very funny. Potato chip, and then blade, like a razor blade. Which industry, which industry will see a phenomenal shift, and in which areas can India take a lead? I think one of them you mentioned was
Yeah, yeah.
pharma.
I mentioned about wellness. Very
Yeah,
simple.
wellness.
Wellness
Yes.
and education are the two areas where India should and can take lead actually as a global
Hmm.
level. Wellness, because of our availability of significant amount of labor, as well as requirement from the European countries for the elderly, they have to be taken care and other thing. And wellness is not just allopathic medicine, injection and other thing. It is much more in terms of yoga, in terms of pranayama, in terms of various other associated thing where we can play a very very big role in the coming decade. Education is because we have again huge amount of skilled English speaking manpower who can teach various subjects on net based distance education, for which the MHRD is a foolish institution. It says that you can give this net based education provided you are already a existing university. What rubbish! A lot of new IT industry people and others want to enter into this area. It's like telling if you are doing print industry, then only you can come into television. It's
Right.
exactly like that only. So the current fellows who control these universities are all quite a number of them are crooks. Their only qualification is they have 100 acres of land. They start a university, declare themselves to be chancellor, give themselves doctorate from the same university, honorary, and then they become members of Rajya Sabha, all and Lok Sabha. All sorts of things are taking place. And MHRD doesn't want to touch this. You open up this whole education system to any type of capable people. You can have a council for IT based or what do you call internet based internet council for education. Even that is not required as long as the recruiter respect what is taught. That is the most important thing. If I offer a module of 7 courses and the recruiter feel that it's one of the very very good things as far as the students are concerned, you can't give a diploma, you can't give a degree, you can't even give a certificate today. You will be arrested. It's a it's a very very backward looking thing. One of the suggestion I will give is abolish MHRD. Then it will
Yeah, you've said that in the past. Sir, I have about 30 more questions.
yeah,
At
yeah.
least
Some of
30.
them may be similar. You combine
And
them.
some of them may be similar. Exactly. So,
And
viewers,
because
I'm going to,
the original name, not all this, it's not a
yeah,
Twitter.
yeah. Right.
They
So you
should
will have to give your
come
original
out
names. I'm
with a
not going to
proper
repeat
name.
those. Yes.
Yeah,
And also, sir, so we can budget it like 1 minute per answer. Maybe that would
yeah,
be a good system.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
because it's continuing to come in. I don't want to stop people from asking their questions. And
Right.
viewers, we are going to have a follow-up session, perhaps as early as 5 p.m. Today in the evening. And so we will be able to continue. So you can send your questions, and we will resume at that point on the unanswered question. So please feel free to send your questions, and we will resume with answering the unanswered questions. So next question, Naveen Bulusu says, how integrated is India's economy with China? Can India wean away from China in the medium term? Will that be a good strategy?
Yeah, we are not significantly integrated, even though our relationship is twofold. One is primarily import and export, where we are significantly affected because of their exports are phenomenally high. In the last 10 years, actually, we never even thought about it. We went in only for what is loosely called the low price, just like US also did. And as
Yeah.
long as the price is low, then let's buy this. Almost every item has been dumped from China, including crackers and agarbattis and I cannot screwdrivers and any number of items have been. So we can. It's not very difficult for us to come out. Second is of course their investment. Their investment can also be, for instance, FDI has now been regularized. FII can also be regularized. It's not very difficult to be out of clutches of China. We are not such a dependent power on China. One. Second, what you are telling is, what is that? Sorry.
Yeah. Can India wean ourselves away from China in the medium term? And would that be a good strategy? I think you're saying that we are not
Yeah,
both linked. Yeah.
it's not very much linked at all actually.
Yeah.
Compared to our linkages with the West is much severe. Not just economic linkages, our social linkages, our mental linkages, and everything is phenomenally high vis-a-vis the West. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The next question is by Pavan Timma Vajjala. I hope I said it right. I am pursuing my master's in economics. I have a question with respect to banking system and credit easing. The sentiment regarding bank lending credit is too low now. So is the case with NBFCs. How does one rectify it?
See, aggregate requirement of working capital, roughly 50% is only met by financial institutions. Let's be very clear about it. And the banks are of late very reluctant to lend. This is pre-corona also, not post-corona only, because one is the unfortunately not required tightening using the Basel norm and other thing. And second is the three C's of lending are chasing them. The original three C's were character, capacity, and collateral. The modern three C's are CVC, CBI, and CAG. So the banker is so reluctant to lend, he has to look behind his shoulder. So he is better off investing in government securities than keeping quiet. There is no penalty for not lending, only persuasion. So we have to come out of this clutches. We have to encourage bankers can do genuine mistakes, should be recognized. That is most important. Not every banker is a crook or anything like that. So that attitude should go and encourage them to lend. And if they fail on a not on a malified basis, but on a bona fide basis, it should be recognized. Right.
Yes, indeed. And the next question is from Ram Karthik Narayan. Is gold a good investment post-COVID? I can tell you my answer. It's always a good investment. Plus, please.
COVID, COVID or no COVID, it has always occupied a central place in India, whether you like it or not. So it's okay. But now, of course, that doesn't automatically mean last rupee you invest in gold and wait. That's not that. And India, let us be very clear. Here we don't invest in gold with the idea of selling. Gold is sold in a very extreme situation. The return on investment on gold is the stupidest computation in India because people buy gold, particularly 95% is jewelry, and they buy the gold jewelry just to keep it. That's all. Where are they? You ask this gentleman, who is this? It's not Bulusu, it's another person, right? Ask him to check in his family and circle. How many of the women have sold gold in the recent past? So it's not that from that perspective or anything. It's a provision for insurance or emergency. And from that point of view, it's a good investment.
Next question is from Gyani Sarvagyata. China's debt today is $39 trillion. US's debt is $25 trillion. and both are very high, and India is also racing ahead. When will the day of reckoning arrive? This is not paper currency, guys. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
this is all paper currency, and these are what are called financialization of the industry. And incidentally, Chinese forex reserves are phenomenally high. It is something, if I remember, 3 times or 4 times India's GDP. So these debts are not to be, too much, to be worried about or concerned another thing. Unless and until there is a question of repayment of all this debt at a particular point of time, which is not going to arise. Yes.
okay, Siddharth Mishra has a question. It's a good question, in my opinion. Sir, what is your opinion on Dr. Swami's suggestion of spending 8 trillion rupees to fully revive Indian economy? Before you start answering, sir, I want to tell you that it is in line with what US has done. About 40% of its net GDP, it is putting into the economy now. So this number is very similar. 20 trillion India's rupees and 8 trillion is about 40% again. So please, what are your thoughts on that?
8 trillion rupees is, I would rather say it is on a higher side. It's not required of that nature to push our economy at all, actually. Roughly 200 lakh crore is our thing. Of the order of something like 30 to 40 lakh crore would be adequate in order to give a big push to our thing. Because the middle class, aspiring middle class put together will be around 400 million or something. And kindly note, US is a very high cost economy, and we are relatively much low cost economy in terms of aggregate. So it's not in that level, because he is thinking in terms of 10%. What one can call fiscal deficit, but one can think in terms of 6.5 to 7% in that range of fiscal deficit alone. Anyhow, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, and the next question is from Yash
8
Kansal.
trillion rupees, I hope you are talking about, right?
What's that again, sir?
8 trillion rupees you are talking
8
about.
trillion rupees, correct. 8 trillion
Okay.
rupees. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Next.
Yeah, Yash Kansal wants to know, what do you think about Dr. Swami's idea of not having personal income tax?
No, that I think has been too long debated. Another thing, I would not like to get into that again. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So
He
there
should
is
not,
a,
actually, you should have a hangout with Swami. You can ask him directly. Right?
yeah, right. So
Yeah.
the second part, I'm going to leave it out because it's not relevant to our topic. He wants to know if making kurta pajama uniform at school, should it be done? So I think it is not
No.
relevant to our discussion today. Sorry, Ash. Next question from Anurag Jindal. What can be potential impact on Indian IT industry and jobs in this industry on account of recession in US and Europe? I can tell you one thing before Professor RV says, recessions in US and Europe has usually helped Indian IT. That's how Indian IT grew, because work doesn't go down. The amount of ability of the companies to pay for that work goes down. So they look for a lower cost place. So it usually works good for India. But I want to take Professor RV's take on it. What does he think about it?
Same thing. Same thing. Answered
Now,
already.
thank you. And also, I might add that India's ability to deliver fairly good stuff has improved by leaps and bounds now. India can do a lot of good stuff sitting in the comfort of your home. I'm not even saying that India needs to go to a workplace. This is probably the best thing that happened to the commuters of Bangalore. Traffic is going to be much more easy on you. You will not miss flights, Professor RV, because of traffic, I hope. So, next question, Amar Sitarama. By the way, you've crossed 200 viewers. Thank you very much, viewers. We love your support. Amar Sitarama has a question. Can we be able to eliminate middlemen in farm produce and make it reach the consumer directly?
It's very difficult, because even though we abuse another thing, they have a significant amount of value addition done. Otherwise, they won't be there. Let us be very clear. Unless there is a value addition, that particular what one can call activity or that particular person will not be existing. He will wither away by himself. That is the most important thing. So the value addition is a very critical thing. Whether it is intermediary in fixing your marriages, or intermediary in fixing a house for you, intermediary in fixing a land for you. Everywhere there is an intermediary. If he is not adding value, then a new type of things will take place. Like for instance, marriage portals have come now. Same way. So in agriculture, it is possible for direct dealing, but not. It's very unlikely because many of the genuine agriculturists are not very comfortable, or in terms of transporting, in terms of paying taxes, in terms of bringing it to the metropolitan towns, and it's not unless we go for complete amount of what is called corporate farming. Then what you are asking is very very possible in terms of removing the intermediaries. Already in some places, the contract farming is taking place, wherein the intermediaries are reduced and other thing. And one state has abolished APMC completely. In terms of, if you remember, Madhya Pradesh, I think, has told that there is no need, any farmer can sell anywhere in the country. If more and more states come forward and agriculture produce prime marketing regulations are removed, then it is possible. But still, you require transporters, you require the retail level kirana stores, and to reach the ultimate consumer. I don't think in any country, for instance, in a big country like US or Europe and other things, it's not farmer to kitchen. It's a lot of intermediaries are there, except some of them are very large, like Walmart type of intermediary, who can dictate terms both with the farmer as well as with the households. Is a sort of is a giant intermediary, right? So it's always there. Okay.
All right. Next question from Gaurav Nagpal. Gaurav, the first part of your question about personal income tax has already been answered. The second part of your question is, how does government recover the GST loss in this quarter? I think, Gaurav, remember that this is an unusual situation. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. You're going to have many more quarters where the revenue is going to be iffy. The government has to print the notes. The question now that we are discussing is, how much to print and where do you direct it? That is the most important thing. That you have to print notes without any kind of backing is a given. Look at how in US is done. They did not bat an eyelid. 3 trillion already out, and another 2.2 trillion has just been passed. They said 6 to 7 trillion they were going to spend. Almost 90% of that is already accounted for, called for, and it's already being disbursed out. So printing notes is not going to be a problem. Sir, what are your thoughts? I think we should not look at the GST numbers even if it falls for a few more quarters, right?
Yeah. GST number is not. It will recover. That's all. In certain for instance, very interesting statistics is last month of April, maximum tax collection, direct tax collection. This is many people. The direct tax collection has gone up by 37% compared to last year's April. So many reasons can be attributed to this, but most important is the zoom in the direct tax collection has given some leeway to the government. Indirect taxes will definitely fall, and this is one of those extraordinary situations. Again and again, I am not impressed that we should print notes. There are many other methods. We have 460 billion US dollar foreign exchange. What are we doing with that? I do not know. IR is repeating again and again, print notes. I think he is very fascinated because of his book. Who made my what is that called? Thing as white.
Who painted my money white?
Right. I think you don't have. We have another 1 trillion in illicit bank accounts abroad. So there is a huge amount of availability of funds. That's not the. We can ease also. We can float, for instance, Corona bonds globally, and I am sure it will be significantly subscribed, right? And domestic also, we will get more money if you remove. Even today, if I want to go and deposit money with the Prime Minister's Corona Relief Fund, beyond 10,000, I cannot put it in cash. These stupid regulations are there. A lot of people want to give in cash. What is wrong about it? They want to make some punya by giving their black money into the PM's relief fund. But still, we have that old regulation. Up to 10 only you can give in cash, otherwise by check. Who will give by check? Anyhow, funds are not the issue. Let me again repeat it several times. Right.
Next question from Nahusha Acharya. It is now 10:39, sir. Another 10 minutes we'll take the questions, and then after that we will resume a little bit later, right? So Nahusha Acharya has a question. How can you improve the share of revenue from tier 2 and tier 3 cities compared to tier 1 cities?
Yeah, share of revenue mean what? GST revenue or direct tax revenue? I'm not clear. And this, this obsession about, this revenue, we should moderate. What about cutting cost? Huge amount of government expenditure can be eliminated or reduced. That also should be our focus. Right.
Yes, let me reiterate. Professor RV's opinion, you need to have only four ministries: defense, finance, external affairs, and home. The rest of the ministries in the center can all be shut down, and all those IAS, IPS, all the other officers can be used for other places. And if you ask him, he'll say send them abroad to go collect all the money stored there and bring it back. That itself will be a big challenge, because you have to go to so many courts and get the money unfreed from all the tax havens and so on and so forth. So let's move on to the next question. Ramachandran Venkatraman has a question. So what is your opinion on the now pending BPCL privatization?
No, all these things will be, what one can call put in abeyance. But BPCL type of companies, better to privatize now actually, because they are doing very well. You see, in India, it's very peculiar. If a company is doing very well, they say don't privatize, because silver spoon you are selling another thing. If a company is not doing well at all, you want to buy, who will buy it? So either way, you have to take a call on that. And BPCL type of companies can be privatized. You see, many may not know, Indira Gandhi nationalized many of these British companies, because during 1965 Indo-Pak war, some of them were reluctant to provide fuel to our aircrafts, defense aircrafts. So she was very annoyed, because this was a subtle instruction from Britain, which was supporting the Pakistan that time. So she was very annoyed. How can these companies be located in India, but not looking at Indian interest? And that was the primary reason she decided that oil is a very strategic. And today, that's not the type of situation. Now, even if you have a private oil company which is reluctant to, we can just instruct them, we can take over. Our state is much more powerful today. That is something. Even in the airline industry, you can, you simply requisition Indigo. You must give our flights for the defense purposes. That's all. The center can order them. So we are, the problem is the issues of the 60s are not the type of issues of 2020. So we should. So BPCL, I do not, shed or rather think twice if a good amount of valuation is done and revenue is generated. Yeah.
Sir, Arpita Kalanuria. She has a question. Dear sir, my manufacturing facility outside of Mumbai is badly affected. Do you think businesses in Mumbai/Maharashtra are going to be shut for a long time? It's going to be a difficult question to answer, but I think the answer is probably
I think
yes.
the industry in both Maharashtra, Bombay as well as Maharashtra, as well as in Delhi, and to a large extent in Tamil Nadu, are going to be significantly, Chennai is going to be significantly affected. Let's be very clear about it. Whatever way you fudge the numbers, the problem is that these towns are significantly affected by corona in terms of spread. So there are the public perception. Public perception is very severe, and already, unfortunately, Bombay has gained a notorious name as being anti-industry, anti-type of any development. You see the way the metro system was denied or degraded. Bullet train is being degraded. There is not much sentiment in the ruling circles in Maharashtra for reviving industries. And unfortunately, this corona has come and spoiled the whole game. It will take, definitely, I would say 2020 is an extremely bad year.
Sir, I think it's a good point to put a pause on our Q&A session. We can resume later when time. So Shall we say we can meet again at 5 p.m. IST?
No, we can continue for another, say, 10 minutes at least.
You want to 10
10:44.
minutes? Okay, fine.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So the next question, I mean, these are a bit of a repeat. One question that people have is I don't think you're going to answer this thing, but I'll read it to you. So you can say, I don't want to answer. Somebody called Saurav Suman with a emoji of laughter. He's asking, do you think anything is going to be changed until the top guys are changed to handle this corrupt bureaucracy? Example, FM as Swamiji, RBI governor as Professor RV himself. Some
Yes.
incompetents are handling.
Don't even read all these questions. Just skip. Right.
Sorry, guy. um, Next question. Sriram S. Dear Professor Vaidya, I would like to know the COVID's impact on the investments in basic sciences. For example, Department of Energy and NSF in the US pumps in millions of dollars into fundamental science research.
Yeah, yeah. So that definitely that will significantly increase, particularly in pharma and other health related industries and other things. And as far as we are concerned, this has been the chicken and egg story for a long period of time from 1950s. A huge amount of investment is not very easy in India. And let us be very, very clear in all these major research. For every 10 type of initiative you take, maybe one or two may succeed. 8 of them will fail. And developing a molecule and identifying it is not a joke. It takes some time, as I have 6 to 7 years and 8 years, and you have to give up. And that level of deep pockets our companies do not have. Let's be very, very clear about it. We are very good in producing the generic medicine and other things. As far as the intensive research, I don't think we will ever be able to compete with those with the US particularly. Yeah.
Next question, knowledge sharing corner Krish. Funny name, but he says, how low is India stock market going to go? Will it touch 25,000?
Yeah, it might touch. I am not very, let us be very clear. Indian stock market represent hardly some 10% of our GDP or something. So that is not a, indicator. Indian stock market does not represent India or its market. If the global situation changes, it's primarily FII driven market. So there is nothing Indian about it. And even in the past, when it reached 40,000, 35,000, it did not reflect our economy. So I think we are unnecessarily obsessed about our index, Sensex and Nifty and other things. If the global situation improves, our market will improve. Our market is primarily a market for global investors based
Um,
upon global situation, not Indian situation.
Sir, general question about loan moratoriums. I think that's going to be, periodically revised, right? I mean, they'll say 2 months for now. After 2 months, if situation doesn't improve, they'll say, okay, one more month, and so on. Don't you think that's how the government is going to do it?
I don't think that will be a good way to do it actually. They may not also do it that way. They might have, because moratorium again, interest is not foregone. So that is cumulated. And
Right.
then it is going to be paid at the end of the period, another thing. We have to wait and see. I don't think banks will also like to adopt such a procedure. It can be pumping in more funds instead of, loan moratorium and providing more extra loans. In other words, greening. That will be a much better type of a situation. Let's see how the government reacts after 3 months. Yeah.
So, sir, I just want to have a conclusion statement before we wind up this part. One of the thoughts I had, sir, I'm just taking a little bit longer term view. If you look at, let's say, see, the expectation is that COVID is going to recur again in the fall because we don't know how many mutations have already come. They have detected 5 so far, which means this is not like a one virus. There are 4 or 5. So you never know which one is going to be more stronger and which one is going to be more weaker. But all we know is if these things hit congested areas, That is what happened in New York City. That it happened to the cluster grew in a very congested area. That's when it went. The death became uncontrolled. My point in all these things, sir, is: do you think it's a good idea for the middle class, especially those who have taken voluntary retirement, who are fairly healthy, to start thinking whether they should go back to their village towns and things like that? And I'll give you a simple reason why. Most of them have devised their lifestyle around, sorry, soaps, long time soap operas and mega serials. Everybody has a plan in their life. Their productive day is built around, from 10 o'clock, I want to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and between those things, they'll go and run other errands. You can do that in a small village too. These days, cable is reaching everywhere. So, do you think that this need for staying in a flat in a city, that could be a risky situation?
See, one thing I think we should be clear is, if COVID returns or COVID doesn't return, or what is going to happen now, also, I am telling you, in the next couple of days, many activities by the end of May will start. People will be more infected, people will die. Let me be very clear about it. But the importance of that will get, from the front page, it will go to the sixth page. Yesterday, 800 people died in the due to COVID disease. Like, yesterday, 6 people died due to, motorcycle accident. It will become one of those numbers, that's all. Let's be very clear. If I remember correctly, nearly 90 lakh people die in India every year. And this COVID has taken away some 3,500 people. So
So that's
it's
nothing in the grand scheme of things.
in the so many reasons people are dying actually. One interesting statistics is non-COVID death has come down. So very surprising actually. Road death has come down because there is no road transport. But what about people should be dying of other, so many other regular complications. Number of dead bodies coming to crematorium has declined. Something very, very, that means our whole health system has been a big scam. Think
So
about it.
true.
It's a very serious thing. Anyhow, this COVID thing in the next couple of months will become new normal. That will be coming in the TV. It won't be breaking news. It will one of those last thing. Another 8,000 people are found to be infected. Another 3,000 people. That's what is expected even in US. I am telling. Europe is same thing. Let's go back to work type of thing. You mean it has been completely solved in Spain or France or Italy? No, they are only telling that the cases which are being found out has declined. The rate of increase has come down. That is one type of statistics. Another is number of deaths also. That rate of increase has also come down. It's not at see US is expected to reach 1 lakh. Now it's around 55, 60,000 another in terms of death. I am telling. And already some idiotic politicians are telling old people and disabled people and other thing. Let them find their own end. Let's not too much worry about them another. So the way things are, according to me, even if COVID returns, like the Mummy returns, the movie 2, COVID return, it's not going to be so much talked about because by then it would have become one of our regular thing. Only thing is people will put mask and the people will stay 5 feet away and all those things will continue for a long time, at least till the end of 2020. People will have mask, people will be 6 feet away and other thing. But the intensity of feeling about COVID will go away. What I mean to say is, intensity of COVID won't go away. Intensity of feeling about COVID will go away. Think about it. Anyhow,
Of course, and a mega serial about COVID is just around the corner, and that will be the regular thing. It becomes part of
yeah,
your life after that. So,
correct.
thank you so much, Professor RV. This is part one. It concludes now. We'll be back with part two at 5 p.m. IST. Please mark your calendar, and we'll continue with our question and answer session. There are still fair amount of questions to answer, sir. The response has been tremendous. Thank you very much, viewers, for your wholehearted support in encouraging us to do this format. We are planning on doing more of these things, perhaps not on every month or every day. It will be some periodic time when we feel like there's a need for Professor RV to invest his time in answering our questions. Professor RV, thank you so much, sir, and you have a great day now.
Later to contribute to a Goshala or something like that. We will
Yes,
provide
yes.
most important.
Yes, yes. Please subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so, and also please donate to your local Gaushala. I was going to have a follow-up question on this, encouraging voluntary retirees to go to smaller towns to their villages. We will do that in the second part because it's very important the way the rural India is changing now. So thank you very much, Professor RB. We will be back at 5 p.m.
Today,
Yeah.
4th of May.
4th of May, 5 p.m. We'll be back again on a hangout with Professor RV. Thank you so much, sir.